there, welcome to Aldi. We are bringing you along today with our Shop with the Doc and Shop with the Dietitian that we designed really to go out into the community and help people learn what things that they can get at the grocery store that are healthy for you. We chose Aldi because Aldi is actually very affordable and they have a lot of organic produce that you can get at good prices, and a lot of people shop here. My name is Dr. Michelle Thompson Olson, and I'm an integrative and lifestyle family medicine physician. And this is...
I'm Lena, and I'm one of the dietitians for Dr. Thompson.
So we're actually starting right in the very front corner of the store in aisle 1, and what we want to talk to you about first is some healthy snacks that you can get. So Aldi does a great job of having a lot of snacks, nuts without salt added, and we're going to just show you a few of those things. This particular product that I picked up, raw almonds, pecans, pistachios. If you look at the back, you're going to see that under the ingredients, that is all that it is in here. And Aldi has these 100 calorie packs. And this is actually great because one of the things that people make a big mistake about is serving size. So this is great because it's already portioned out for you. One package, and it's 100 calories, and it gives you all of the nutritional information on the back. As opposed to if you just pick up something like this and the whole package, there's 8 servings in here. Sometimes people get a little bit excited and eat the entire thing. Then you don't really know that you're putting all of these things in and it's not good for you. So we're going to talk to you now about what a nutritional label looks like.
So when we first look at a food label, I always like to tell everybody to look at the serving size. So like Dr. Michelle talked about, a lot of times when we take a food, we eat too much of it. So when we look at the serving size, and if you can see it on this bag of trail mix, the serving size is 1/4 cup. So the food label is going to tell you how many calories, how much sugar, protein, all of those things for that 1/4 cup. So if you were to eat 2 of these, you would be multiplying everything by 2. This is one of the new nutrition facts labels where the calories it's bigger than what you would normally see on a regular food label. And the reason it's so great is because you can see the calories really large. You can also see the things that like we want to focus on the most. So when you look at total fat, this one has 9 grams. Nuts and seeds are higher in fat, but they're good fats for you. And then we want to look down at like the protein and the total carbohydrates. You can see the dietary fiber, which is 3 grams, the total sugars, which is going to include the sugars from the cranberries and the sugar that's on it when it was preserved. And then it includes 4 grams of added sugars. So that's what you kind of want to look at whenever you're kind of looking at the ingredients and seeing how much sugar is added into the product or how much of it is natural. So when we look at the different products that are in your view, the trail mix here contains almonds, raisins, dried cranberries, walnuts, pecans, and filberts. So when we look at the dried cranberries consist of cranberries, sugar, and sunflower oil. So that sugar that's on the dried cranberries is where we get that included 4 grams of added sugar. But if we were to look at the raw cashews, walnuts, macadamia nuts, those are raw and they don't contain any added sugars.
Okay, so in aisle 1, some of the things that you might want to pick up when you're snacking, as we were already going over, would be these raw cashews, walnuts, and macadamia nuts. And we'll talk about how you can actually add these into foods that you're eating already, like overnight oats and baking, stuff like that. We talked about the trail mix. This may not always be the best thing to do on a daily basis because of the added sugar, but it's definitely a product that Aldi carries. We talked also when we started about the mix of the almonds, pecans, pistachios all together, but you could get it just by itself. They have them all separated out, so we didn't pick up all of those to show you, but there's unsalted cashews, almonds, pistachios, things like that. And as we said, the portioned out already, which probably will cost more money. Some of the other things you might want to consider would be some dried fruit. And you really do have to be careful with dried fruit. As Lena already discussed with you, there is a lot of added sugar that is often in the products. These ones are great. The dried ones do not have any added sugar. And they're, again, good to add into your, if you don't want to eat them by themselves, they're good to add into your overnight oats because they will rehydrate when you put the almond milk in there and be ready for you to have in the morning. So they're great to have on hand, and it's something if you can't get fresh fruit, then it would be something that you would have on your shelf. So this particular package just has strawberries. This particular package just has apples. With the apricots that we have here, same thing. And then we also chose these raisins because these are a great little snack. These are also awesome to put not just in things like overnight oats or adding into baking, but also onto your salads. Same with some of these fruits and nuts. It would be something to add in that gives you a lot of nutrients. We also picked up this, which everybody loves, and we're not saying you can't have chocolate, but we're saying the darker the better. So this chocolate in particular that Aldi carries is 85%, which is a really good high percentage of chocolate, and it actually has a lot of nutrients in there that are good antioxidants. Again, you can't eat the entire thing. In looking at this, there's actually 5 servings per container. So if you ate the entire bar, you would be having to multiply your nutritional label by 5.
So when we're talking about chips, there's so many different things that you can consume throughout the day, but here at Aldi's they have 2 products. So the first one is a blue corn tortilla chip and the multigrain tortilla chips. So both of these contain organic corn flour. This one obviously is blue corn flour, but the other ingredients in the blue one is the vegetable oil and sea salt. So this is a pretty good product to have. More ingredients in the multigrain chips, but it also is along the same lines. It has organic brown rice, it has sesame seeds, sea salt, things like that. So both of these products are about 140 calories for roughly 1 ounce. So both of these products are great to have, you know, an occasional snack every once in a while to get that munchiness out of your way, you know, to have with a fresh salsa or something along those lines. So everybody loves, you know, a good sandwich here and there. What we really want to focus on is what's in our bread and the products that we have. So these are both sprouted breads, and some of the ingredients that we have in here are organic sprouted whole wheat. This has oat flakes. It has a seed mix, which is brown flaxseed and sunflower seeds, and millet, and a lot of good things that are in here. The problem with breads are they're so high in sodium. So we have to kind of look at our food labels, and here we are, new food label again. And so whenever we look at this food label, you can see the sodium content of a piece of bread, which, because our serving size here is 1 slice, is 135 milligrams. When we're thinking about our whole entire day, and we think about having a low sodium diet for our heart, for our blood pressure, for things like that, we want all of our products to be less than 140. So this would be a lower sodium product. Obviously, I would like it to be less, but for bread, this is pretty decent.
The 2 that we were already holding are not the only 2 choices that Aldi has. They have a really great selection of breads. The most important thing is that you read the label, because as we were talking, I found this Seed You Later pumpkin bread, and it has the lowest sodium of all the breads. So take the time, you know, try some new things out. And bread doesn't have to just be left on the counter. It can also go in the freezer. So you can buy a couple and then just have an occasional slice of bread rather than bread every single day.
So one of our favorite places in Aldi's is the organic produce selection. They have tons of different produce that are organic and fresh and just really great quality. Organic versus non-organic. The Clean 15 and the Dirty Dozen. That's sort of like a guideline to go with whenever you're trying to shop organic produce that is on the Dirty Dozen list. We want to try and pick those more often than we don't organic. So that list includes, for the Dirty Dozen, strawberries, spinach, nectarines, apples, grapes, peaches, cherries, pears, tomatoes, celery, potatoes, and sweet bell peppers. So when you're shopping throughout the store, if you can think of that Dirty Dozen and say, can I buy those organic? Then more often than not. When we look at the Clean 15, these are the Clean 15 that we say are okay to buy not organic. So these include the avocados, sweet corn, pineapples, cabbage, onions, sweet peas, papayas, asparagus, mangoes, eggplants, honeydews, kiwis, cantaloupes, cauliflower, and broccoli.
So So the next thing that we want to talk about is milk alternatives from not doing dairy and switching out to different choices. So a plant-based milk. This one here is coconut, we have almond, and we have soy. So some people have to be careful if they have a nut allergy, so then they would not want to really do the almond. But then some people have soy allergies and some people can't have coconut. The big thing that we want to talk about with these different milk choices is that they have some that are original, they have some that have flavoring added to them. So you just have to really try and see what works well for you, what you like. You can look at the backs of the labels and actually see if there's how many different things are added into them. This is actually a very good choice to even put in your coffee in the morning if you really want something that, you know, like a creamer. The vanilla one works well. Somebody recently told me that they put a chocolate one in there. They liked that. So we were talking about purchasing produce. You can actually put that in your freezer and then you can use that, pull that out so that you don't waste certain fruits that might be turning and going bad, and then mix them with the almond milk to make smoothies. And you can even add in different vegetables, spinach, things like that to add in nutrients.
So when we're here at Aldi, we have a lot of different options when it comes to peanut butter, and that's where your food label reading really comes into play, because there's so many different types and so many different labels that you really have to check how much sugar is in the product and what else is in the ingredient list. For example, one product could have 1 gram of sugar and one product could have 4 grams of sugar, so we really need to just pay attention to that. So just because it says natural doesn't mean that it's going to be the best choice for you. Yes, it could be natural, but it could still contain sugar and still have more sugar than the regular product. This is where I stress the food label reading and looking at those products and the ingredients.
You actually don't have to use chicken broth or beef broth when it calls for it in a recipe. You can use organic vegetable broth as an alternative always to different things. You can also use organic vegetable broth to use as a base for cooking. So instead of oil, you can use things like broth, orange juice, beer, wine, things like that that actually help to remove some of the calories from the cooking and added fat. The big thing to be cautious of with the vegetable broth, and any broth in particular that you buy from a box, is the sodium. This one in particular actually has 530 milligrams of sodium. The chicken and the beef also have around 500 milligrams of sodium. And as Lena was talking to you earlier, you really want to limit your sodium, and this is way overboard, but you can use just a portion of this and add water to it. You can also make your own vegetable broth at home, and you can buy a low sodium or a no sodium vegetable broth. Really, we can just talk at some point about using some of your old produce instead of throwing it away, turning it into making things like that. A vegetable broth that you could save for later and use for a soup base, or you can actually put it in a freezer and have it and pull it out when you need it for cooking at a later date. Beans, beans, beans. So look at the selection of beans that Aldi carries. Black beans, pinto beans, garbanzo beans, kidney beans, cannellini beans, Great Northern beans. Beans are an excellent source of protein and nutrients, fiber, but we do have to be careful when purchasing beans because there is sodium sometimes used in the packaging of canned products. So you might want to recommend wash them before you use them to limit the sodium intake.
Aldi has a great selection of gluten-free products. A lot of individuals have celiac disease, but a lot of individuals have an intolerance to gluten. If you have a gluten intolerance, to sort of watch what products you're consuming. You know, just because it's gluten-free doesn't mean it's still healthy. A lot of times gluten-free products are really processed, but Aldi does a great job of having products that are better. So this is one of the products that I really like. These are crackers, and these are made out of sesame seed and brown rice and flaxseed and quinoa. So these are a great alternative to something that would have wheat in them, or you could do like a blue corn chip like we discussed earlier. But Aldi does a great job with having these gluten-free products here. Be mindful that there are a lot of processed foods when you talk about gluten-free. So when we look at oats, we always get a bunch of questions on what type of oats we should be consuming. Oats are great. They help lower your cholesterol. They give you extra fiber. They make your bowels move better. more frequently. They give you a lot of nutrients, vitamins, and minerals that you need. We look at all these different types. Still cut here, we have quick cook oats, and we have old-fashioned oats. My favorite to tell patients and to the public to consume are the old-fashioned oats. They're easier for our body to digest, but they still have the whole all the nutrients there. Still cut oats and quick oats are still beneficial. Quick oats are just a little bit quicker. They're processed a little bit more so that they don't take as long to cook. Still cut oats are the raw form of that oat. We have our instant oatmeal as well. We just want to be mindful of like the sugar content when you go to instant oats. That has a lot of things in it to keep it shelf stable, to make it quick and easy. It has a lot of sugars, a lot of additives. So we want to try and focus on our natural products, our rolled oats or our steel cut oats. One of my favorite ways to prepare oats for the people who say that they don't have time to cook them in the morning is to do overnight oats. If you get a jar and you put in your oats and you put in an equal part fluids, almond milk, water, cashew milk, coconut milk, something along those lines, and then put them in your refrigerator, you can make those for the whole week ahead. Pull them out in the morning and put some fruit on top, and there you go. You have a breakfast, you have a snack, you have a lunch, something along those lines.
The next thing we want to talk about is protein bars. There are a lot of choices, and the big question I always get asked is, how do I choose? Aldi has a lot of choices. The Elevation bar has the most pure and simple, as it states on the label, and it actually is low sodium. It has the fewest ingredients, so it's more raw and natural. They also have peanut butter powder that could be added into things that will add in protein. It could also be added in for flavoring into recipes. You can use it in your baking. It is lower calorie than regular peanut butter as well, but you're still getting all of the health benefits of it.
As we move into grains, quinoa can be an excellent choice, particularly over other types of grains such as rice. It is high in protein. It is a good source of fiber. Traditional quinoa you need to prepare ahead of time by soaking, and although it does require time, if you make a large batch, you will have enough to last you for at least a week. There are some already prepared versions that are better choices than other alternatives. Always read your food labels. Make sure that you know any of the additives in the product. For individuals that are gluten sensitive or gluten intolerant, quinoa can be an excellent choice. Always read the labels to see if you can tolerate a product that has been produced in a facility where gluten is also produced.
Aldi also carries an excellent selection of vegan products in the freezer section. Though it is vegan, it is still processed food, so it's not something that should be consumed on a daily basis, but it's great alternative when you are needing something quickly rather than going to fast food. At the labels, because some people that are gluten intolerant cannot do these products. So just spend the time in advance wandering through the store, and then see what things you can add into your freezer so that if you need something fast on a night that you get home late or you have less time to prepare, this would be a choice that's something that you could go to. I'd like to mention, as an alternative to soda, Aldi has this product called LaCroix, and then they have their own version, Bellevue, with a lot of different flavors. And the important thing to note is that this is sparkling water only with natural flavors. There's nothing really added into it. If you would be one of those people that loves your soda and you're transitioning off of that, this is a great way that you can try something new. I also recommend people that are trying to decrease their alcohol consumption to take a wine glass, put a LaCroix in it. You can even float fruit in it. It makes you feel like you're having a fun glass of something, especially in the summer months when it's warm outside. But you can find all kind of different brands of sparkling water that are out there on the market now, and you can incorporate them into your day.